cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
FM episode 2169, We're in Podcastro Valley today. Yes, we have had so many days of
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Being in Podcastro Valley Mont and Podcastro Valley Ton. Today we're in Podcastro Valley and my name ain't Sally or Salvador Dali. It's Mike Matthews and it's a Monday and it's cool because I got to work from home today. That's something I haven't been able to do because my company had an issue where they couldn't do remote
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Remote work because there had been a virus that happened
Mike's
and messed up our
Daily
remote work
Podcast
stuff. So
yeah,
now we got all these authenticators and these double check the password plus password. Backward password, everything's checked from top to bottom. I mean, this is legit, folks. No one's gonna hack us now. Oh, watch out. Don't ever say that. Hey, how did this happen? So I may have said a few bad things about people whining and complaining about Twitter. Oh, Twitter, it totally censors me now. And I used to be able to say whatever I wanted on Twitter, whatever I want. And now it censors me. Yet, those same people didn't complain. They weren't complaining 4 years ago when it was the other political party that was complaining 4 years ago, saying that all kinds of stuff was getting on Twitter that was making people vote the way they shouldn't vote. Anyhow, not to get into all that, I've been restricted on YouTube. Yes, me, little old me. What the heck did I say? I think it had something to do, my last show got restricted, the emoticons one, the last podcast, episode 2168, because I think I was talking a little bit about vaccinations and how...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Oh, it's a picture of me with a huge chicken. I talked about how next year, even though we'll have all these vaccinations, that we'll still probably need to wear masks. That's not what got me banned. It wasn't me talking about it. That's not what got me banned on YouTube. It was the little description that I had said Mike talks with his lovely lady friend about 2021 vaccinations. And as soon as that word vaccinations got into my description, that's when they got, yeah, the Basil alert happened. No, Basil. Yes, Basil would not agree with this sort of thing. The late, great Basil the boxer. He'd be like, don't censor, Mike. I will bite you. So I've been age restricted, which means that it will not be visible to users who are logged out. So before, all of my YouTube videos, I used to put them on my webpage at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Because they were not restricted, you could see the podcast picture, which was usually the, the icon picture at the beginning, the rest picture when you look at YouTube pictures, the thumbnail picture. And a lot of YouTubers that get a lot of subscribers, they'll usually get the most visually attracting thumbnail. Something that will grab your attention, like a big headline. Like, coronavirus is fake. Now, if I put that, actually, if that were put in someone's thumbnail, I am sure they would get banned by YouTube as well. It looks like they're being particularly sensitive about this topic, about misinformation. And I understand that, but still, it's weird. It shows you how completely big this is and how they're taking it so seriously. When little old Mike Matthews and Mike's Daily Podcast gets dinged. Also, a podcast that I did, 5 years ago. It was episode 801. 801 got dinged. I tried listening to a little bit of it. It was about 15 minutes long. And that podcast, I mentioned some stuff about CrossFitians And that about 5 years ago, the caveman diet. What do they call that? Where you just eat meat and that one, and chickens, and big chickens like the one that I was standing next to in the podcast picture at Discovery Kingdom. I'll give them a little plug and I'll give them a little slug. The rides are all closed, but you can see the cool animals they have, and they take really good care of their animals, it looks like to me anyway. But some of them you wish you could just let loose and go run, be free. But a lot of them were raised in captivity, so they don't really have the instinct to live in the wild. And in fact, I think there is some kind of California law that prohibits places that have domesticated wild animals to not let them back into the wild. That's important to know. They are probably better off with us, whether that's right or wrong. Who's to say? You to say? But for some reason, YouTube had to say that FF episode 801 got, I want to call it the Pavlov diet. What is it? Not the keto diet. The one that preceded the keto diet. Whatever that was. Anywho, I talk about that, and for some reason that got dinged. So maybe this show will get dinged as well because I talked about that. That's the only thing I can think of because I was talking about health stuff. Weird, huh? So you got to be careful. I don't know. On one hand, I don't like being censored, but on the other hand, I understand it is their platform and they're trying to weed out bad influencers and bad speech that could get them in trouble, that could get the rest of us in trouble. Speaking of which, I get this little thing from a news... I've been getting these emails from this news agency. I don't know if it's really a news agency. They're more of an aggregate. They get all kinds of stories. They pull stories from all kinds of places. So I don't know how true their news stories are. It's Dig, D-I-G-G. As we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley today, the last place on earth. One of the stories they talk about is Tulum in Mexico. They had a huge COVID super spreader event, and there's a picture of like all the teenagers that are there in their bikinis. It's a beautiful spot in Mexico, right there on the ocean. I think on the Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico. So beautiful beach area, and none of them are wearing masks. But it was an interesting music event that ran from November 11th to November 15th this year, promising to nurture personal growth. Many attendees got COVID instead, and they brought it back to the U.S. It was like a huge jump in New York, something like 60 to 70%. And yep, they found out through the contact tracing that they had come from this place in Mexico, this huge Burning Man type event, big dance event. Well, actually, it was supposed to nurture personal growth. So, hey, I'll get dinged for talking about that probably. But anyway, cafe anyway. Oh, hey, and here's another interesting story about the 8 most awkward presidential transitions. Donald Trump questioned where Barack Obama was born. The president called the man who succeeded him unfit. But there's ample precedent for their mutual antipathy. And I guess that was in the Atlantic. But not me, so don't ding me about it. Anyway, cafe anyway. The other thing wanted to mention, I'm going to get my teeth worked on tomorrow. I'm going to get a filling. I got a filling in my mouth. It's going to be a good night. Yes, my mouth will have a good night, hopefully. Tomorrow night, not tonight. Tonight I'll be worrying all about it and everything. So, yes, getting dinged on YouTube because my description mentioned vaccination. So what do you think about that? You can call me 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast has been now for a couple of days. And, maybe in this world, I heard somebody say to me today, I was on a little walk with my lovely lady friend, and there was a guy standing well over 6 feet away from us. None of us were wearing masks. We were very far apart from each other. And he had a huge chocolate lab that used to get in fights with my dog. Yes, the late great Basil the boxer. In fact, it was so bad because this dog would just show up, and there's a busy street, and this dog was not being watched by its owner. This was a few years back. And this dog would come up to people's dogs and intimidate them. And did I bring that up with this guy? No, I should have today. But now the dog is so old, it's kind of past that point. But this guy was talking to us and saying, you know, it's amazing when you don't have masks on and you can't see people's faces and you can't have like a normal interaction because you can't see the smiles. You can't see the hidden nonverbals that we like to shoot to each other. The subtext that we provide with our smiles. We can't do that these days. But he said, on the other hand, I've been wearing a mask since February, and I have caught nothing. Usually I get at least one cold a year. I've had nothing, he said. So this guy looked to be about my age, maybe younger. But I am worried that we're all going to become agoraphobes and be scared of people because we cross the street when we see someone walking on the sidewalk coming our direction. And by the way, I always end up being the person that crosses the street to go to the other sidewalk. So what kind of person does that make me? I'm ultra polite. I'd like to be the person that doesn't cross the street. No, you cross. I'm not crossing. You catch my germs. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster. But look who's here right now. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, chef supervisor. Where's your lovely lady friend? Yeah, she's somewhere outside here at Cafe anyway. But, she's got work today because it's Monday, so I'm sure she's talking to one of her clients. Have you sold any snow globes? Yes, Mike Matthews, lots of snow globes. I remember the episode I was thinking of with snow globes. It was Toast of London with the very funny Matt Berry. And he goes over to this girl's house that he's having a thing with. And she has a bunch of snow globes, and she gives him one. So, but that episode of that show happened way after you started first selling snow globes, Chely Shoehart. Thanks, Mike Matthews. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I heard you got into some trouble with a plant. Oh, yeah. So there's this place I often go with my lovely lady friend. And it's in Pleasanton. And, oh, hello, lovely lady friend.
Lovely lady friend?
Your lovely lady friend. Hi, lovely lady friend.
I heard my name.
Oh, hi. This is 3 episodes in a row. This is amazing. Do you want the headphones? I got headphones for you right
now.
You
sure.
Can listen to yourself.
Well, I don't know if I want to listen to myself.
You don't? Okay, then don't. Listen to yourself. But I should tell you, you should listen to your heart when it's calling for you. Listen to your heart.
There's nothing else you can do.
I don't
know
where
we're going
with this podcast right now.
But listen to your heart
before it tells you goodbye.
I was going to say before the brewmaster pours you some brew.
Before the brewmaster pours you some brew?
Yeah. Some root beer. He might cut you.
Yeah. He's not here today.
Oh, okay. Good. Whew.
But Floyd the Floorman is.
Oh.
Hi, lovely lady friend.
Hey, Floyd. What's up?
I hear Ken doesn't like me.
Why?
He doesn't like my voice. Because I'm Floyd the Floorman.
Well, it takes all kinds in this world, Floyd.
Ken and I were on the phone all day trying to figure out Skype. Apparently, once you this is an excellent bit of tech news for everyone.
What?
It's time now. Whoosh, tech news. So, if you do the new Microsoft update for your Windows 10, your Skype will stop working correctly. It will start getting this weird sound behind it, which gives more and more of a reason why Zoom became like the biggest company of, isn't it the company of the year or something like that? Or the technology of the year?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
Like, a few people knew about Zoom at the beginning of the year, and then of course by now everybody has used it. Families, everyone.
Well, it's become like part of the vernacular now.
Yeah. And I was talking to Vince in the Bay. Listen to his podcast, Vince in the Bay. I think his website's vinceinthebay.com. In fact, I'm going to be on his show in the new year.
Oh.
We did a pinky promise. But he told me, he's like, hey, so Zoom is the biggest company of the year, or you know, the most notable of the year, and probably will go down in history in 2020. It did so well. Yet there were all these other platforms that could have just as easily taken that trophy because they provide the same service. Skype could have done the exact same thing. Skype has been around as long as Zoom, maybe longer. And people were it's too clunky. Microsoft made you, if you want to use Skype, you've got to get a special account with them. So there's my little plug and my little slug to Microsoft. And they make it impossible to use, like just to casually use it. Which with Zoom, you got to start an account, but they make it a lot easier. So that's interesting.
User friendly. I've been using. Well, I think probably this is just because of the hardware or software.
Software.
You know, I have a Chromebook, so I've been having trouble using Zoom on my Chromebook, and it's a lot easier to do Hangouts.
Right, because those are Google products.
Yeah.
Google Hangouts.
Hangouts or
Meeting.
Meet. Yeah.
Or is it Meet?
Google Meet.
Google Meet.
I've been using that
terrible.
a lot.
Google Meet. It's really rough. You got to tenderize it. You got to marinate it.
Safe words. Never mind.
I want to get dinged again because of you. I got a strike against me from YouTube. That's how much they hate me on YouTube.
They don't hate you, love.
They gave me a strike.
Because we were talking
What am I, Glenn Beck?
We probably shouldn't use VACCINATIONS.
Vacations?
Exactly.
So what you're saying is that you're finding Google products are easier to use?
Just because I think it's because I have a Chromebook, yes.
Oh, okay.
So it's designed to be compatible. But
I got it.
Whenever I've used Zoom, it tends to, on my Chromebook, it tends to freeze a bunch, and it's just, it feels clunky, even though I know it's not, but on my Chromebook it is.
So I was telling the story as we wrap up the show, because you came in on the end. Where were you?
I had to do some emails.
Likely story. So I was talking about the plant situation.
Oh!
About how we saw a plant at this place I go to in Pleasanton, and you were with me, and we saw this plant was being neglected. It was sitting in the dark.
Yeah.
You went to check the soil, and it was very dry.
It was really cracked, and it was drooping. It didn't look like it was being taken care of.
So we basically took it and brought it home.
We plant napped.
And it gets lots of natural light at my house, and it gets water, and it's happy. But then the people alerted me that the plant actually belonged to somebody, and I have to bring it back. I felt that was my Monday. That's how I started my Monday, was hearing about that and about how Skype doesn't work. So, yes, now I got to deal with that. Got to bring back the plant.
Are we going to hold it for ransom?
We should. We should be like, oh, we heard about Frank Sinatra Jr.
Oh, yes.
And somebody held him, kidnapped him like in, was it Reno or Lake Tahoe? And they kidnapped him. A guy kidnapped him that actually went to high school with him.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Or went to high school with his sister.
With his sister, I think, yeah.
I think in the L.A. area, too. And then said, And basically, he did it because he wanted to get money.
He was down and out.
And he was starting a new business.
Yeah.
And I know what I'll do. I'll get some money from Frank Sinatra, his dad. And that was an interesting. We enjoyed that documentary.
Yeah, I learned quite a bit of stuff. Complicated man, that one.
Frank Sinatra, yes. Because he was all about civil rights, but at the same time, he'd make some very awful, bad taste jokes with Sammy Davis Jr. Jokes you would hear now with our woke or not so woke ears and go, whoa!
Yeah.
He would hate woke people.
Not okay.
He'd be so anti-woke, I think, Frank Sinatra. Even though in his core, he really wasn't. He was about helping the people that were not being treated well.
Yeah. Well, he came from an immigrant family, so he understood the adversity of
Hoboken.
Bigotry and racism. He understood it on a very visceral level.
Mm-hmm.
But so chauvinism, love. He was a chauvinist. That's the word I was trying to think of.
Okay.
I could not think of it for the life of me. I had a brain fart last night.
However, he was so apparently okay. So he did some stuff like with Mia Farrow. Mm-hmm. She wanted to do Rosemary's Baby, but he had his own movie because he was doing like a production company, and he had a movie called The Detective, and he wanted her in it because she was the it girl at the time, and they were married, and she was way younger than him. And she couldn't because she was doing Rosemary's Baby, which ended up being one of the biggest movies of her career.
Yeah.
That and was she in Annie Hall? No, that's Diane Keaton.
Yeah.
She did that other one with her husband, Woody Allen, the last ex-husband. But apparently, so because she didn't want to do that movie, The Detective, Sinatra divorced her. And sent a lawyer over to Rosemary's Baby, the set of that, with all the papers for her to sign.
Well, but even before then, he was essentially trying to sabotage. I don't want to say sabotage her career, but he was trying to convince her not to do the movie. Mm-hmm. That it was just small bit. She shouldn't concern herself with it. And then he tried to intimidate the director. I think Robert Evans?
Yes.
Or no, Polanski.
Polanski was the director.
Robert Evans was the producer, right? Yeah. So he tried to intimidate Robert Evans and threatened him, basically. Like, if he didn't fire her, mm-hmm. he was...
I think overall he had a temper. I don't know if he was completely chauvinist, because I think he fought against that.
He says, she's my old lady, and she'll do what I tell her. Yeah. Those were the words.
Well, they aren't exactly
spoken as a true chauvinist.
Then
she's my old lady.
Then all of our dads were chauvinists.
Yes, possibly.
But don't forget, though, too,
This was a different time.
He was friends with Mia Farrow till the end.
True.
He was friends with...
Doesn't make him not chauvinistic.
He was friends with Ava Gardner to the end. True. And helped her when she was not getting any medical help.
Well, she basically took care of him when he was down and out.
A true chauvinist doesn't care about women at all. Treats them like...
that's not true.
Well, we have a different definition book then.
Well, based on what I do... I can tell you that's not true. It's not so black and white.
You work for Webster's Dictionary?
How'd you know? I was trying to keep it secret.
Oh.
But you gave up my roost.
Uh-oh.
The roost is up.
That's why you're good with the word speaking. All right, whatever. I try and be respectful to women and not be chauvinistic, but I see... And I would never...
Would you call me your old lady?
Since I'm way older than you, no. And that's the thing. He was way older than Mia Farrow. Maybe it was a joke because he's so old. Not to make excuses for him, but he...
Yeah, don't.
But it is kind of, maybe I could see him with his goofy sense of humor that
No,
he had.
yeah, but he was not. When he was angry, he was angry. He was clear about, he was not joking around.
Complicated man.
Very.
Well, thank you for bringing a spicy end to our podcast today, lovely lady
You're
friend.
welcome.
Anything else you'd like to add? Any other men you'd like to call out as chauvinists? You, Oliver Platt, you're a chauvinist. Do you remember
Oliver Platt?
Do you know who Oliver Platt is?
No.
Did I say
Who's
his
that?
name right? I was thinking about this actor. He's the guy from this guy. He was in the Three Musketeers in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
He was he was like in all these movies and TV shows and stuff, and I don't know what he's doing now, but
Yeah, I recognize his face, although I couldn't tell you right now where I've seen him.
chubby guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Oliver Platt. I don't know why he popped into my head there. And Biden is officially elected.
I haven't had time to read the news.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
That happened today.
All right.
All right. So there
All
you go.
right, all
We've
right.
wrapped it up.
Yes.
100% of precincts reported. And it's all a fraud.
Done deal.
It's all lies.
Lies and propaganda and fake news.
Fake news. Fake news. Thank you for listening to our show. Maybe you aren't listening to our show because YouTube has censored us, whatever. See, they even censor us, so no one's safe. They're chauvinists. Dang YouTube. Lovely lady friend, how would you like to end today's show?
Oh, man, you always do this to me, and I freeze. I can't think.
I love what Craig Ferguson used to do. We could either end this with awkward silence, or he would have some other funny thing for them to do.
What is...
You're ending with a question.
Yeah. What's your favorite flavor ice cream?
Oh, I would say Heavenly Hash, if they still make that. It's probably the worst stuff for you. It's like Rocky Road and a million other things.
Oh, that sounds
thrown in there.
amazing.
But, today is National Bouillabaisse Day.
Bouillabaisse. That reminds me of Northern Exposure.
Really?
Yeah. Is
They
that
make
bouillabaisse? What am I thinking?
I'll chop you up and throw you in the bouillabaisse. Yes, Adam Arkin says that line.
Yes.
That's right. Don't aspire to make a living, aspire to make a difference. Denzel Washington said that.
I think we should end on that.
Oh, excellent.
Beautiful.
Thank you, my lovely lady friend.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And tell us what you think. 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast will try to be as much as possible. Bye!
Bye.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!